Happy Friday, everyone, June 2025. So I decided to go ahead and do this video because if you're like me, you deal with a lot of young people. And we see a lot of young people, there's 40% of them that I think are making really good choices for their lives. Studying, doing cadet corps, doing swimming, doing football, doing basketball, going to church, having a relationship with Christ. So those you guys that are doing that, I totally encourage you to do it. Those that are not, again, there's a lot of young people, unfortunately, are making really bad choices for their life. And for a lot of reasons for that is a lot of reasons are a lot of young people are in homes, believe it or not, where there's hardly any guidance. You have young people where, again, either the mother don't care, or the mother is on drugs, or the mother is an alcoholic, or the mother is out partying, or the mother is scared of the child. Believe it or not, that's happening. And so it leaves the young child, especially boys, alone to be raised, okay, then by the father. And then unfortunately, a lot of times you see fathers too that are out chasing women, partying, a lot of different reasons, and they're not taking care of their children, guys. So when you look, the young man is pretty much being raised by himself. No bedtime, no homework time, no church time, no guidance, no structure, no timetable of doing anything. So to those young boys, I say my heart goes out to you. I'm genuinely praying for many of you guys, because again, a lot of you guys, a lot of young people are just left to raise themselves, and meaning on the street. So they're getting friends, becoming friends with people down the street, older men, and women do it too. A lot of young girls have fallen into that, where they're wanting caring about having relationships with older men, trying to look for that protection, trying to look for um, that father they may not have. So I just want to say, guys, know that God loves you guys. Know that life is tough as it is, but when you got to make tough choices by yourself without adult supervision, that is very hard. Life can be life can be very life is challenging. Life is challenging. There's homework time, there's school time, there's work time, there is cooking time, there is, and then, but yet, sometimes kids have none at all, no sort of structure at all in their home. And so when you look, they're really at the mercy of the streets to raise them. So to you young men and young women, my heart really truthfully goes out to you guys. But and so what's causing a lot of that? So to young women, I will say, love yourself, guys. Don't get played. Don't become there's so many young ladies I know are struggling. They're single mothers. They did not think they would become single mothers. But what happened is they got into relationships, right? And they got into relationships, and they thought they were in love, and they thought the person was going to always be there for them, and they thought they were going to be happily married happily ever after. And when you look 2 years down the road, they're a single mother. And then what happens is another guy comes along, be nice to him for a while, um, and I'll talk about the men in a minute, but right now we're talking about the young girls. Be nice to them, and the next thing you know, they're in a sexual relationship with that person too. The next thing you know, there's another child on the way. All right, and so when you know, the young lady had no idea that, oops, here I am pregnant again for a second child, a second, sorry, man. And so life doesn't get any easier. Her income has not increased at all. What she didn't have is her expense have increased. She now have 2 kids. She's not married. When you go to the banks, guys, I can tell you, as a young woman myself, when you don't have a good salary, or a second source of income, or just a great salary, it's hard to get bank financing. So therefore, when you add kids, sorry, someone's in my eye today, when you add children's children to that, whereby the bank is, when you go to the bank, they usually ask you, what's it cost you to live, food, electricity, rent, or mortgage, and children. And so they'll say dependents. So when you have show the bank that you have a child, a dependent, you making $3,000 a month, I'm telling you, young girls, it is hard than trying to get a mortgage like that. It is hard, because you're making 3,000, you might qualify for 150,000. Where are you going to get a home for at that price? So let me encourage you, young ladies, to again, I think a lot of young girls found themselves as single mothers, didn't plan to. I think what happened is with having a boyfriend, you feel like you're in love, and you feel like it's going to end in marriage. You feel like it's going to be happily ever after. But here's one tip I want to give you guys, young ladies. Just slow down, guys. I've been your age at one point in time, all right? I was your age at one point in time. And anytime you go out with a young man by himself, but you and them, you go to the movies or they treat you nice to dinner, when you look, they have, you sort of almost feel indebted to them because they took you to dinner. So one way I find it, I'd like to tell you, I was telling another young lady, and she said to me, um, Coach Jay, thanks for telling me that, because she said other people don't talk to us about this. So I'm going to just tell you guys, one way to not get involved sexually is do not be going, when you go with a guy, okay, if you have your own car, drive your own car. You might say, oh, he's a nice guy, I knew him for years. I'm going to get to that in a minute, guys. I knew him for years, he's a nice guy. But guys, people have sexual feelings, right? And what's happening is, sometimes again, it's our feelings and not our brain or heart. Those sexual feelings are happening, but the brain is not kicking in the way it should be, because you're all immersed in these sexual feelings that you feel, oh, we're gonna get married and we're gonna have a child, da 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 da. So I'm gonna just say to you guys, slow down, guys. Try not to, again, if you have a car, you drive. He has a car. If you want to go to Pizza Hut, you want to go to movies, or whatever you're going, you go to church, drive. Even if you go to church, guys, trust me on that. Drive your car separately. Drive your car coming back separately. If you want to talk, and again, this is nobody's business. You don't have to listen to a word I'm saying. I'm just saying to you, as I escaped being a single mother because of strict parents, and I'm really, really, really happy. I had strict parents. Of really, at 21, I didn't think my parents were great. I think they were disgusting, right? I thought they were keeping us from fun. I thought they were robbing us from fun, only to find out that they saved me from possible pregnancies. So thankfully today, I am not a single mother. I am because of strict parents. We couldn't go to parties, we couldn't go to dances, and of course I rebelled at a young age. But thankfully, I had stick a pin there. Another thing our parents would let us do is, like, we could never go out alone. If we as brothers, my brothers had to go with us, or sisters had, like if I have a sister close to my age, I have two brothers, we had to go out. If we want to go out together, like Pizza Hut, back in the day, we had to go together as a group of people, guys, okay? And so unfortunately, the guys was going after girls, my brothers were going after girls, me and my sister, we have boyfriends. Thankfully, we didn't get involved sexually at such a young age, thank God, because a lot of it is, again, you're young, and you think you're not sure, you think you're in love is what it is, and when you know anything, there's a baby there to have. So just be careful, young girls. Don't be going on dates alone with a guy. Even if you're a 30, 45-year-old, this also applies to you. Don't be going alone. That's how you get involved sexually, guys, okay? Number two, and again, guys, a lot of guys don't mean you well. A lot of guys are looking for to stay in Cayman. A lot of people are looking, whether it's in America, whether you're from Australia, I see them battling with the same issues where people are married their natives just to get to stay in a country. That's called marriage of convenience. So when you look, ladies, girls, you may be a single mother at 25 or 15 because someone's decided, oh, they need a Cayman child, they need an American child, they need an Australian child, so they could get to stay in a country. And what happens then is, when you look, young ladies are left to be single mothers, all right? So that's one. And then the other thing happens to guys. The same thing happens to guys. You have young guys that want to go to college, had their head all screwed on, wanted to do something with their life. But again, when they're going out dating together solo, what is happening is, solo, just the two of them, you start French kissing, and then one thing leads to the next. So one way boys too, believe it or not, hey guys, believe this or not, what's his name? Oh, the tall guy, can't remember his name. Anyway, he's a big basketball guy. He did not let his daughters date until they were 24. All right. His thing was he he wanted his girls to be, he said he wanted them that if they got a divorce, they could stand on their own 2 feet and care for themselves. So he did not let his girls, he had his slogan says, no cheese without two, none of his cheese, which means none of his money without 2 degrees. All right. And his boys, he didn't let them date till 17. So here we have these little 13-year-old kids running up Nankamana Bay. And I don't know whether, again, because their parents are scared of them and don't have, or whether, again, the mother's out drinking, the father's out partying. I don't know what it is, but kids are out there, Kamana Bay, unchaperoned with like an adult, right? And so imagine there, guys, if you're, what's the name of the guy again? Just can't remember his name. Tall guy that did basketball. Anyway, his thing was his boys is you cannot date until you're 17. He wanted them to also have 2 degrees. He said to his girls and his boys, no cheese without 2 degrees. You had to have at least a bachelor's degree in order to be qualified for any of his money. All right. And so therefore, the name is going to come to me at some point. So just want to say, guys, one way of avoiding sexual getting involved, because so many times I had a young lady said to me, Coach J or Miss J, whatever she chose to call me. She said, you know what? We get sexual involved with these guys and then we get to know about them. So again, a lot of it is not intentional. Young girls feel they have a boyfriend, they're in love, he cares for me, we're going to get married, we're going to have a child, we're going to live happily ever after. He's nice to me, he buys me a phone, he pays my lunch at, he pays for my movie, popcorn, and for us to get in, or he takes me to Wendy's, he takes me to Burger King, he takes me out to dinner. And so you therefore think like indebted, like you're in love. He's whining you and dining you. A lot of times, guys, young men truly mean well, but when the stress of a child hits them, a lot of times they find it hard then to juggle their young father, young mother, there's a child, he's trying to go to college, she might be trying to go to college too. And so when you look, you have a heavy responsibility of a child on your hands and you don't know what to do. And some people just say, oh, what to do is we're supposed to be responsible. This is our child. We have to step up to the plate and do what it takes to make life work for us with this child. So one way to avoid that, again, guys, is do not go dating alone. Do not go. So we'll step up the game. So he's talked to high school students, now to college students. Same thing, guys. I know people, I went to college where, believe it or not, it was a Christian college. Oh, let's not talk about college though. Like I was listening to Dr. Daniel Amen, a smart guy, and he was saying, people think, oh, this is so awesome. My child's gone to college. And he was like, he's trying to educate parents. Like, do you realize how many kids are into the fraternities and sororities, the parties where there's alcohol? He was talking about it. And there's mushroom parties and all that. But yet so many parents will throw their kids out there and think this is such a great thing. Their kid has gone to college. But I'm telling you, I would strongly encourage every parent to try to send their kid to a strong Christian college. I mean, Christian as in, I went to one that said a Christian, but you're allowed to drink and then go confess your sins in the morning. No, but then I transferred. I didn't want that life. So I transferred to one where you actually get kicked out if you drank. So I would strongly invite and encourage young people, try to go to a good, strong Christian college, because where you may be thousands of people, but there's boundaries. Boys can't be coming into dorms, girls' dorms, because again, I've also watched. So we're talking about young people, we're talking about sex, we're talking about how to help them have a better life, right? And how to avoid sexual behavior. So one way, again, to do that, don't go into dorm, do not go in, when you're allowed, you go in a dorm room by you and her, by the side. What do you think is going to happen, guys? The touching and the falling happening, what? Touching and falling happening, next thing you know, I've seen it, I've heard of it many times where young girls got pregnant, they had to drop out of college to go have the baby. The guy got to stay in the college, guys, and finish his degree. You had to come out and have the baby and sometimes never return back, or come home, wherever home is, whether in-state or Cayman or Australia or England, and then you have to have the child and then also try to juggle going back to class at night or pregnant. Because so all I'm saying is, how to avoid all sexual activity and becoming a parent before you have planned mentally, financially, spiritually. Um, you know, one way to do that is, again, do not go out on dates alone. All right, we're stepping it up now to as an adult, right? We're talking about how not to be a single parent, how to avoid unplanned pregnancies, how not to be a father before you're ready, how not to be a mother before you're ready. All right, so even as a 35 and 40-year-old, I mean, hey, listen, no, I could still get pregnant at 35 and 40. So my point is also, I have had pitfalls myself where I went out in college, like, oh, I went driving with my boyfriend, okay? And yeah, I know exactly what happened. Section, and I must confess, so if any of you little holy ears who don't want to hear that, block it out. But I'm trying to talk to young girls right now and young men how to avoid being a father and a mother before you're financial and mental, spiritual already, because it's a huge responsibility. And the society is feeling the consequences of children that are not planned. Again, we haven't provided lunch money, psychologists, prisons, and all this stuff because of children that have came into the world from two people who got together who were no way mentally, physical, financial, spiritual, or ready for a child, or they thought they were. They were in love, right? Um, so to even 35-year-olds, 40 and up, also, like I said, I would, I still was very naive. I didn't realize, and many women obviously are, didn't realize that sometimes when a guy take you on a drive or takes buy you dinner or buy you a dress or a nice watch or a um, piece of jewelry, a lot of times men want something in advance, guys. They're not doing it just out of love. So, and so one thing I have been friends with some people in Michigan and Ohio when they date, and they're grown up people, and they always do not, like, again, 35, 40, they do not go alone. If they want to go out to dinner, they either drive their cars separately, yes, if and then also, or ask a girl to come along or ask a guy to come along, and you sit and have dinner and maybe another couple. And I know a young couple nowadays doing that, which is very good. They're going to dinner with another couple, and that's great. And again, I was talking to one, but again, they try to always drive their separate cars, and you're not stopping along the beach to have a talk. You're not going to do that because we know what talks. Oh, I want to talk to you. He calls you up. You feel important. You feel special. And when oh, can we go to the beach a little bit in the evening time? We won't have a talk. Or in the daytime, it ended up. That's how sexual activity happened, guys. And so you don't want to be an unplanned mother. You don't want to be an unplanned father. It is hard work, guys. And I repeat again, the society is feeling the consequences of children that are not in good homes, parents that are not good parents, fathers that are not good fathers, mothers that are not good mothers. We see the drugs. We see the young boys getting involved in gangs. We see them getting involved in drug selling. We see the girls getting involved in prostitution. We see little kids that are being left by grandparents and aunts and uncles to raise. We see the government having to hire psychologists. So all this, guys, is about simply, oh, we thought we were in love, or we weren't planning on having sex, but it happened. So I'm just going on the road to tell you guys how to avoid, how to have a decent life. I mean, I live in a neighborhood where guys started planning having their kids. They were like 35, 40. And I said to the guy, why'd you wait so long? He was like, I think 35. Why'd you wait so long to have a child? He says, because what would I do with a child at 25? He said, I was young and stupid and I was partying. What would I do with a child? So he's like, I think his first child was at 35 or 40, can't remember. So now people say, oh, I want to be able to have my child before, but we see the effects of that, guys. If you start at 35, you had a chance to get a college degree out of the way, you had a chance to have a home, but when you get a child first and no home, it is hard. And I say this again, there's tons of, I talk to young girls all the time, and I feel their pain. They're like, oh, I'm a single mother, and it's so hard. And I get it. So I'm just saying, here's how you can avoid that, girls. Okay, so again, to the 35, go with another couple. Don't go on sharp run. You might say, I'm not a 16-year-old, but no, but you have feelings and you have sexual feelings. And again, I've seen so many women are having a hard life trying to raise children on their own because again, got sexual involved, a child came out of this, and when you look, they've had a child for a very narcissistic person, very selfish person, a guy who's a player, a guy who was seeing how much he can plant his seed around a community, a child who, a young man who sick in the head, is twisted actually, uh, who think that he's a man because all the baby mamas he have. That's a twisted, sick person, guys. So, so many times young ladies are getting pregnant and having children by these guys. All right, and I will also say to the nice young men, there's nice young men, and they love the girl, they cared for her, but when you know she had poor parenting skills, when you know she had a drinking problem herself, or and that he didn't know about, you know, and so therefore we've got to be careful, guys. We've got to be like seriously, like try to avoid. There's people now that are bragging. Look on YouTube. People are bragging that they're practicing celibacy, practicing abstinence. That's people that are decided that they're not going to get involved sexually. Again, they've got involved at times, but they're not going to get involved anymore sexually um, until they're married, because they see the hard work it is as a parent. They know what it is to have a baby mama here, a baby daddy here. They see people struggling to raise children, and it's hard work. It is end times. It's an evil time. So I would say to you guys, and just again, see how you can, again, when dating, not by yourself, not stopping on beaches and down the road and drive, no. And then also lastly, I would tell you guys, encourage you to have a relationship with Christ. When you do, when you have a relationship with Christ, you actually don't want to sin. You know that sin, you know that you don't want to displease God. You know that if you sin, and sorry for those of you who don't believe in heaven, hell, all that stuff, I believe in it, okay? Um, and so therefore, um, you want to have a relationship with Christ because it gives you boundaries. It gives you, when you feel unloved or feel like nobody don't love you, whatever, you know that Christ loves you, that Jesus loves you. And that might sound small, but I know a young girl that had told me she was such in a bad home, and she said, but one thing she used to know, she used to remember the Sunday school song, Jesus Loves Me. And she remembered that, and that's what gave her a feeling of self-love, because she realized there was a higher power that loved her. So I can encourage you guys to try to have a relationship with Christ. It matters. It helps a lot. It gives you boundaries. It helps you say yes from no, yes and no, no to wrong, yes to right. As in, sometimes people are just trying to encourage you to go to church, guys. Go find a good Bible-based church. Another one last way I find a lot of young people are able also to keep out of and not feel alone, and oh, I have to have a boyfriend, or I have to have a spouse, or I feel lonely. One thing I found I did over the years, and that is I always volunteered on a weekend to a youth group. Find a good youth group to help out with children, help plan activities. Trust me when I tell you that will keep you busy, because you got to help plan activities, then you got to show up, and then you got to execute, and you got to help with young people, or maybe you want to go to Red Cross. Find something good on a Friday night, especially, or Saturday night, Friday night, Saturday night, where you give back to the community. Again, I find a good Bible-based Sunday school, church, youth group, and yeah, and help with those. And I'm telling you, that will suck up so much of your weekends. So that way you're not sitting home alone, being lonely and yearning for companionship. So hopefully, guys, this topic has helped you guys. Now, I know I started off probably on another topic, but then I kind of felt led to go in a path of how do we help young men and young women stay out of sexual relationships, because we see the pain, we see the suffering, we see the brokenheartedness, we see the fatherless in homes. We see 70% of young boys in a home without a good father. So we're seeing that it's hurting society so much. And we're crying and we're screaming about inflation. We're crying and we're screaming about high cost of living. But we've got to look at what's costing society. Okay, what's costing the high cost of living. Okay, and a lot of it, guys, a lot of these kids are going through trauma. We've got psychologists, we've got psychiatrists, we've got to have the boys home, we have the girls home, the kids are free lunches we're giving. A lot of that was a lot of kids were coming and not having decent, or having lunch money, or not having a decent, a patty and a soda, right? So we did lunch money across the board. That's another story for another day. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, that is just some of the cost consequences, guys, of when you have single mothers, single dads, and just because people got together sexually, they thought they were in love, or they got their emotions and their hormones all involved, and sex happened, voila, there's a child. Childhood should be planned. Your children should be planned. Parenthood is hard work, so it's something got to be planned. All right, so hopefully, guys, I've helped you guys. It was longer than I thought, but hopefully it's helped you guys in a relationship, marriage, abstinence, how not to get involved sexually. Voila. Take care. Subscribe to my channel if I'm gonna upload this to my YouTube channel. Subscribe there. If you're TikTok, like it. And for those of you who need more course material, I'm actually going to also transition this into a course later. So any of you guys want more information, just hit yes and the comments, and we will let you know when we're actually releasing a course part. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.